I'm on the ball today. I even felt exempted from the law today. It's like this revelation dawned on me. It's so amazing, help support the cause. I get everyone involved. I feel like I'm on the ball today. I even felt exempted from the law today. It's like this revelation dawned on me. It's so amazing, help support the cause. I get everyone involved.
How does that music not get you on the ball? Good morning. Welcome back to another Nudelberg Daily Huddle. And if it's your first time joining us, I'm Mark Nudelberg. And on Wednesdays, I get the lovely pleasure of joining the screen with Miss Lori Salarillo. Lori, great to see you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Shay. Good morning, Mark. Good to be here.
Hello.
I love my days with the Huddle.
Yeah, where you can get your morning coach talk. Good morning to Michelle P., Jonathan Aarons, Jamie Tribble, as everybody starts to trickle in and join the fun. What's happening? What's new? Tell me something good.
Oh, let's see. So Patrick won 3 medals. I don't know if you saw my post the other day. I thought this was really interesting, right? Here's a kid with Downs, or a young adult with Downs, right? He goes into these swimming meets and he said, I'm going to get first place. I'm getting gold. So he comes out with 2 silvers and a bronze. The first one, he walks over to me and he goes, "No, I don't want it. I want a gold." So I said, first of all, honey, I said, you see, there's only 3. There were 8 people in the race. Only 3 are getting ribbons. You're in the top 3. That's a really good thing. Number 2, if you want gold, what do you need to do? And he looked at me and I said, maybe you need to practice more. And he was like, oh, she's onto something, right?
Yeah.
So he takes his medal. And then afterwards, now he's telling me, I got to go practice.
Yeah, I love that. There we go.
So you got to put in the work, right?
That's awesome. Still, congratulations to Patrick on 3 medals. That's incredible. And I love the fact that he's going to go practice and do what he needs to do to try to get gold next time.
I mean, listen, I got to tell you, 50 meters butterfly, I'm like, I'm lucky I could do a quarter of that. Like, he's so strong. It really is. It's fun to watch them. So, but they are just as competitive as the rest of us.
That's amazing. I'll tell you something else good that you've started. So I posted about Corey joining our team, right? And he won't officially start until the beginning of September. But you wrote on there, like, you guys kind of look alike, don't you? Well, this has started a whole thing because Jules had asked to see the picture. I show him the picture of Corey. He says, "Look like that, Dad." And I was like, you can't make that up. And then, Shay, do you have the picture of the message from yesterday? So I connect with Joe on LinkedIn. And the way I always connect with fellow Knowles is first, of course, go Knowles. Would love to add a fellow Knoll and leader of my tribe. Looking forward to connecting. And his response back is, "Aren't you wearing a Gator shirt in one of those photos?" I was looking at the picture of Corey. He thought it was me. It was unbelievable.
Well, so it's the beard. It's the darker hair.
The beard and the hair. Yeah.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
Well done, Shay. Great addition to the show.
But I was like, okay, seriously, they hired somebody that looks like a Nudelberg? Am I like, hey, you and I are the only ones who don't look anything like that.
Well, I will tell you that, while he may or may not look like me, I think there's varying opinions on that. The reason he was hired is because he was a culture fit. And I'm sure we can talk more about that down the road. But yesterday I had the wonderful opportunity of going to GryCon here in Fort Lauderdale. GryCon is a local general contractor that does all kinds of commercial real estate build outs and some apartment buildings as well. They've done a ton of work in Miami. Patrick Kibler is the CEO. I was introduced to Patrick through Joy Linsky and the Construction Executive Association. But let me just tell you, they had the best office I've ever been to. Wide open layout, unbelievable sliding glass doors for everybody's office. No like heavy metal doors except for like the conference room where they would have, be able to tuck themselves away, but really open space, beautiful pictures of the work they've done. But then I step into Patrick's office to have a conversation with him, and he's got an unbelievable record collection, like alphabetized across the whole bottom part of a wall. He's got a record player connected to a Sonos sound system. Unbelievable. And then I look on his desk, and Shay, pop up that picture one more time. He's got a Jordan 1 that was customized for their company. So just an unbelievable experience. And my takeaway was, awesome. We're all representatives of our company, right? Like we carry the ethos of our company out to people. And if we never spoke anything about business, my assumption about Grycon is that anything that they do, they would do with style and swagger because of the way Patrick represented the organization. So it was just a great meeting, a great conversation, and looking forward to the opportunity to work with them.
It looks really cool. When you said that, it reminded me of something someone said to me about probably a year ago or so. And they said, Laura, when you walk in the room, JA walks in the room. Right. And when you're in the room, there's passion and commitment for what you do. And she said to me, I think that's why so many people are starting more and more to get involved with JA, because if that's what you represent, we know that's what the company represents. And so I love that tie between that we are, right? We're out. And if I'm kind of walking in like, oh yeah, whatever, but when I'm that passionate and relentless about making a difference, right, in young people's lives, it typically carries through, right?
It should, right? It should. And I think that speaks to the importance of the people that you hire, matching the culture and the ethos of the company, not necessarily the skill set, and not necessarily are they passionate about the cause? Are they passionate about the purpose of the business? Yeah. Do they fit the core values of the intangibles? And that's how you really scale the brand and the organization going out through the people. But it's 8:05. Let's get to some wake up music, and then we're going to come back, and Coach Saban is going to give us our daily affirmation.
Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. Come on.
As Teddy loves to say, wake up, no more sleeping in, let's go. And when you wake up, the first thing you should do is you should check your mindset. And if it's not in the right place, a great way to get it in the right place is to do a daily affirmation. And so instead of you or I reading the affirmation today, we have a guest reader on the Huddle. Coach Saban is going to read us the daily affirmation. Coach Saban, go.
What does it take to break you? I don't care what circumstance you're faced with. What does it take to break your focus because you get frustrated about what happened on the last play? What does it take to make you give in because it's hot outside, or you're tired, or you don't feel like running to the ball or giving effort or finishing the play like you should? Because of how you feel, whether you're a little bit hurt, what does it take to break you?
What does it take to break you? Do you have a standard, or do you have a condition? Because to me, if you have a standard, nothing breaks that standard. It doesn't matter what happens to you. It doesn't matter the circumstance. Doesn't matter what it is. If you only do that thing at certain times, you have a condition, because you need things to be the right way in order to do it. So I thought it was a great reminder. What does it take to break you? What does it take to break you, Lori?
You can't break me.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That should be the response.
There is nothing that can break me.
Well, and so I think it's easy.
I say that kiddingly, but not kiddingly. if you are passionate about something, right? If you are committed to something, then I have to say there is nothing that can break me. I'm pretty stubborn and I'm pretty, right, like focused on what I'm going after. I think if you are, nothing can break you. You're not going to let anything tear you
easy
down.
to get caught up in the way you feel. It's easy to get caught up in the circumstance. It's easy, Coach Saban referenced it in terms of football, because you're hurt a little bit or because it's hot outside. But you could put it in the context of business development, because you've got a lot of no's recently, or because your pipeline is dry, or because you have a massive quota that you're trying to hit at the end of the year that you're very far behind on. You could make all the excuses in the world. Is that going to break you? Or are you going to make the decision to get back and do what you need to do? It's really that simple, because everything is just circumstantial. It's not permanent.
Yeah. And I don't think that means that you can't wallow for a minute, right, in your self-pity or whatever. But you can't stay in that too long, right? You got to get back into it, and you got to get back up. So sorry. That's my answer.
I love it. No, I absolutely love it. So we're going to have a great conversation today. And Shay, I'm going to flip the order for a minute, because it's already 8:09, and Tom Brady put out a wonderful article in the Harvard Business Review about 7 things. He called it the art of leading teammates, but he laid out his 7 principles that he thinks all leaders should do. You had sent over some music that you wanted to use for the Daily Huddle. I vetoed that. But what I did for you was I found a song that spoke about love, so that we could still get the concept on the show. So Shay, give me morning motivational music, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Tom Brady and the 7 principles for leaders.
This is real, 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 real love. This is real, 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 real love. You give me that feeling, you give me that feeling, you give me that, you give me real love. You give me that feeling, you give me that feeling, you give me that, you give me real love.
Gotta love
That's a good
that.
one.
There-
Yeah, and listen, I didn't necessarily mean the music was for today's huddle. I think it just, with everything going on in the world and everything going on politically, it just shows me that we need more love and
No,
kindness.
and the message behind the song was
Yes.
fantastic that you sent. I just don't think there's a likelihood that we ever play a mariachi band on the
Okay, fine.
for morning motivational music. Okay, so let's get right to it. Tom Brady lays out 7 things that leaders must do, and the very first thing that he says is put the team first always. And I think this is an unbelievable point to make that almost points back to what we talked about before with what does it take to break you. A lot of times when we're wallowing, we're focused on ourselves. We're focused on how we feel, and we're focused on what we didn't get or what didn't happen to us or the problem that exists for us. And an easy way to get out of that is remove the focus from you. And a better place to put the focus than on the team. What does the team need, and what does the organization need? So, Lori, as a leader, how do you do that? How does that show up for you in terms of always putting the team first?
Yeah, I think, and by the way, I wouldn't even just limit it to the team. We talk about this in sales and putting the customer first, right? Or the prospect first. What do they need before it's all about us? And so I think, as I make decisions in the organization, for sure, I'm thinking about them. It's not about me. It's what's going to motivate the team. What resources do they need, right? And those are the questions that I ask as I'm communicating with them. Let me help you, right? It's not about what you can do. And somebody said this to somebody on the team yesterday. They were telling me that they're like, she's there to help you. You hear the question she's asking you. You're not giving her, right? You're not communicating, so she can't help you, but she's asking you, what do you need? How can I help you? And so I think that's the most important thing I can do is ask those questions and think about if we want to achieve certain things, what do they need?
It reminds me of JFK. It reminds me of the JFK quote, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. It should be that way inside of a team. It should be not what is the company doing for me? What am I doing for the company? How am I providing value? How am I showing up for my teammates? And I think that's a really important thing in leadership is, and I think this is probably the only like non-negotiable when it comes to leadership in order to be in the role, is that you should have to care more about the mission and the team and the people around you than you do yourself. If you
Well, I
are
mean,
self-centered, you do not belong in leadership.
right. Well, there's that book I read recently by Patrick, and I can never say his last name.
Lencioni.
Yeah. The Ideal Team Player. And
Yeah.
one of the three characteristics is humility. You've got to be thinking about others first.
So, and I think people go, oh, well, Tom Brady, right? Like, what do you mean put the team first? He made hundreds of millions of dollars. Just in terms of context of his career, the guy battled through politics and lack of talent or lack of, fit at Michigan for 4 years to become a starter and then have it taken away from him. Drafted dead last in the NFL, went through 2 years of being a backup. And during all of that time, he could have at any moment gone, oh, well, I'm not getting what I want, or this isn't working out for me, and I'm not where I want to be, so I'm not going to do what's being asked of me, or I'm not going to do everything I can to help the team. He never did that. He committed to doing what was necessary, to helping the rookies that were around him, to watching extra film and being more prepared for when he did get his reps in practice. And because he did that, it eventually led him to be the winningest quarterback of all time and the winningest Super Bowls of all time. And then also led him to sign a contract after his NFL career that was worth more money than he made through his entire career in the NFL. That's a staggering stat for me. And that to me goes, okay, because that guy did all of that consistently, in the long run, that led to him making more money than he ever thought he could make. And I get it. It's a lot of money regardless. But in comparison for him, he didn't get the most money he could ever make until he got out of football because of who he was and putting the team first. So, Lori, do you have the
Yeah.
list? You'd say what
My phone just dropped on the floor, so I don't have it. I did have
Got
it
it.
up. But I just
So
dropped
the
it.
second one is show appreciation for unsung teammates. And I think like in terms of leadership principles and what people ask, people to do and how they think leaders should show up, for him to be the first 2 bullet points of put the team first no matter what, and then recognize the unsung contributors to the team and do something for them, I think are great landmarks. For me, I know that I have felt that way about every organization I've ever been a part of. When I was recruiting in football, I wanted to show up and say hello to whoever was working the desk and say hello to the janitors and say hello to everybody that was in there because I wanted to recognize everybody that was a part of the operation. Same thing when I would be in the office late. They're coming in to clean up the desks and vacuum and do everything. We're still watching tape. I knew them by first name and would say hello. That was always important to me. He talks about it in terms of the fullback or the offensive line, the people who don't get the national recognition, shouting them out in front of the team and giving them recognition. How do you do that as a leader?
Yeah, I think, it's so interesting because, each day, even our building manager, right? He's a quiet guy, but always does the thing, and when I walk in, I could just, sometimes I see him, sometimes I don't, but often I do. And I could just say good morning and keep going. But, I think when you stop and you have that conversation, hey, Jim, just want to tell you thanks. I'm always seeing you hustling. You're always making sure everything's right. Thank you for doing that, because we can't do what we do without this building being so amazing. But they are so far behind the scenes that often, to his point, they don't get the recognition or the appreciation. And I think so often that's what people want. They just want to be appreciated and
It's all
noticed.
people want, right? Like,
And I
people
don't
are-
mean notice like I want to be the center of attention. Notice that you noticed what they do and
you just
what
want to
value
be
they bring.
recognized.
Right.
Recognized individually, recognized publicly, however you choose to do it. People just want the recognition. And it goes miles in terms of building trust and building rapport and building connection. So it doesn't really matter whether it's in a leadership and inside of your team, or whether it's cultivating a new relationship. Like for me, I chose to post about my visit with Patrick because I thought that was super cool. And for me, it's like a nod to him of like, dude, I think you're awesome. And I want to share that with my world and my network. Whoever sees it and however it works for you, it doesn't really matter to me. I just want to do the right thing by sharing it because I think you are awesome. That concept of recognizing people can go absolutely miles. The third one is set the standard of 100% effort, which I think goes into, lead by example and do the things that, you're asking people to do. But he says the standard of 100% effort. You have to be able to give all of your effort all the time. That's kind of easier in sports because it's physical. You can see people trying hard and effort. There are other ones outside of it, like studying film and, showing up to eat the right way. All of that can be considered effort as well. How would you define effort inside of your organization?
I think I definitely I see who's committed, right? There's nobody that in our organization that could say I don't give 100%. They can see it every day. I
Yep.
am willing to pick up garbage when an event is over. I am willing to be part of the team, right? Support you, give you the resources, but they also see how hard I'm working to do, right? To make sure that we have everything, that we're raising the money, they know, right? And so I think if you're not doing that, how can I ask everybody else to do that? I
Right.
don't, that has just always been my mentality. And maybe that's because of the the corporate world that I came up in. You've got to be an example.
And I think, for me, I always like to what are the behaviors? What are the behavior? Like, okay, great. I want you to give 100% effort. What does that really mean? That doesn't mean I want you to work 12 hours a day every day. 12 hours doesn't equal effort to me. Effort to me means being invested in the growth of the business. So if that means being an unbelievable expert at your skill, but then being willing to do more, being willing to help a teammate, being willing to pick up garbage, being willing to, fill in a gap for an event, being willing to post and continue to build awareness for not only what we do as a team, but as an individual for yourself. I think all of those things are the behaviors that show up to me that go, it matters to you. And
Right.
if you can prove to me that's effort in business, it works great. So we're coming up on time. We're at 8:21. I'm going to blast through just the last 4 so everybody gets them. Recognize teammates' individual personalities and motivation. This is an unbelievably important one because you have to recognize that everybody's different. You have to recognize that everybody's motivated by something different. Then you have to understand how to communicate to them in that way that matches. 5 is understand and complement the style of the ultimate leader. He talked about this in terms of complimenting Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick was a grinder, details, no positivity, all negativity, grind you into the ground. He knew that he had to be the guy to get the guys up. He knew he had to be the positive reinforcement. He didn't go, oh, Bill's wrong. He just said, that's Bill's style. I got to figure out how to fit in with Bill to make the team work. 6 is recognize and counterbalance the external forces that drive selfish behavior. we could go on for hours about that, but essentially it goes back to put the team first.
Right.
Don't listen to the people that are telling you you're not getting what you deserve, and oh, they're treating you poorly, or the market says you should get this. Don't listen to the external factors and know how to block those out. And then the last one is create opportunities for people to connect outside of the office. So I think probably I'll save the last half of the list for us to go into at another time, and we can talk about culture. But wonderful, wonderful conversation with you this morning, Melissa Graves. Can I get a copy of that list, or can I look it up? Of course, you can get a copy of the list. You'd have to actually pull it out of the article. I just built the list as I read it. So, Melissa, I will be sure to get that to you.
It was a Harvard Business Review article, I think, if I remember right.
It is. And Shay just dropped the link to the article in the comments. So, Lori, thank you so much for a wonderful Wednesday.
Thank you, guys. I will see you later.
I
Or
will
talk
see
to
you
you
later
later.
because we have a one-on-one, and I'm excited about that. Everybody else, let's get down to business. Have a great rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow here with Jake Nudelberg for another Nudelberg Daily Huddle. Let's get down to business.
Let's go.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business.